Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, classmates. Our topic for today is all about test, measurement, assessment, and evaluation. Okay, what is test? Kapag sinasabi nating test, ano nga ba ito? In Filipino, ito yung tinatawag na pagsusulit. Test is a form of questioning or measuring tool used to assess the status of one's skills, attitudes, and fitness. Test may be called as tool of question, set of question, and examination which is used to measure a particular characteristic of a group of individuals. Okay, kapag sinasabi nating test, ito yung sukatan ng mga teachers upang malaman nila if ang student ba is naka-understand ng lesson na ibinigay ng isang teachers. Ito ay naglalayong sukatin ang kaalaman o kasanayan o kakayahan ng isang mag-aaral. So it is an instrument or activity used to accumulate data on person's ability and perform a specified test. Okay, meron tayong iba't ibang uri ng test. First is the unstandardized test, group test, individual test, subjective test, and objective test. Kapag sinasabi natin unstandardized test or ito yung non-standardized test, it is one of the prepared by teachers for use in the classroom with no established norms for scoring and interpretation of results. Okay, ito yung karaniwan na flexible at saklaw at sa ayos. Ito ay nagbabago sa kahirapan at kahalagahan. Ang ayos at hirap na pagsusulit na ito ay hindi gaanong ina-adapt o ginagamit ng mga instructor sa institution. Bakit? Kasi ito rin ay maaaring gamitin sa pag-alam ng level ng kasanayan ng mga mag-aaral para udyukin ang mga mag-aaral at para bigyan ng feedback ang mga mag-aaral. So kumbaga yung unstandardized test, wala siyang hindi siya nagbibigay ng with no established norms for scoring and interpretation for result. It is like feedback during discussion, during feedback ng teachers and student. Parang nag-uusap lang kayo together with your teacher. Yun ang unstandardized test. So wala yung additional points na ibibigay ang guro. So sa group test naman, it is the one administered to a group or of student. So ang group test naman, ito yung binubuo ng maraming student. For example, in one classroom, meron kayong 18 student. So kapag buuin ko ng dalawang grupo, yun ang tinatawag na group test. So kailangan sa group test is pagtulungan ng bawat members ng group ang isang activity. So next is individual test. It is test administered by one student at a time. Okay, when we say an individual test, from the word individual, ikaw lang nag-iisa sa pagsagot ng mga katanungan. Like for example, always naman itong ginagawa sa classroom during exam or quizzes. Mostly ginagawa ng teacher is individual test. So sa pamamagitan ng individual test, doon mo masusukat yung kakayahan ng student. Pero sa individual test, maaring yung isang student is mag-copy or magkudigo. So individual test, hindi rin siya talagang sukatan kasi may mga student naman na hindi nag-aaral pero naka-perfect siya sa kanyang test kasi nga meron siyang kudigo or nagka-copy na siya sa kanyang classmates. Next is standardized test. It is a test prepared by an expert or specialist. This type of test samples behaviors under uniform procedures for research and experiment. Kaya ang standardized test, ito ay anumang pagsusulit na pinangasiwaan at binibigyan ng score sa di nagbabagong manner upang matiyak ang legal defensibility Ang standardized test ay madalas ginagamit sa edukasyon, sertifikasyon, professional, at psikolohiya. Okay, di ba sa unstandardized test kanina is parang feedback lang or pag-uusap lamang ng teachers and student. Dito naman sa standardized test, mayroon ng score na nagaganap. So while you are giving your information, while you are giving your idea, thoughts and feelings, the teacher rate you kung ilan ang score na kaya niyang ibigay based sa understanding mo sa isang question. Purpose of test. Ano nga ba ang purpose of test? So, please answer Miss Relies. Reply, submit it to my messenger. What is the purpose of test? Based on your idea. Miss Relies, isubmit mo sa akin mamaya. So, the purpose of test, according to the book or according to my research, is for knowing the achievement in the future. Okay, ano bang kalagahan? Bakit kailangan pa ng test? So, Relies, ikaw magsagot for your own idea lang. So, the purpose of test for knowing the achievement in the future. Okay, kasi nga, kailangan mag-test, kailangan i-measure mo yung student mo para malaman mo kung gaano nakahaba ang kanyang nalalaman. For knowing the achievements. Diba sa high school noon, meron tayong first honor, second honor, third honor, fourth honor, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. Kasi nga merong test. Doon ma-measure ng teachers kung ang kanyang student ay nagsisikap or wala. Next is for giving motivation. Okay, kasi kailangan nag-quiz para ma-motivate yung student na mag-study hard siya. Ay, kasi kailangan ko mag-aral ngayon kasi may quiz bukas. Kailangan ko makinig ngayon kasi baka may ambush quiz. So, ma-motivate yung student mo na makinig, mag-advance reading, or talagang mag-study siya sa ibinigay mo na topic kasi nga mayroon kang quiz. Ma-motivate sila na mag-study. Next is for knowing the abilities and capacities. Okay, doon mo malalaman kung ano yung abilidad ng isang student at gaano kalawak ang kanyang capacity. Sa pamamagitan ng quiz kasi, malalaman mo yung student kasi as a teacher, talagang kilala mo yung mga student mo kung sino yung always nag-recite, sino yung always perfect score. So sa pamamagitan ng mga tests, sa pamamagitan ng mga exams, makilala mo sila kung gaano sila katatag, gaano nila ka-love yung kanilang pag-aaral. So, for preparation for effective planning and for getting knowledge about the progress. Okay, malaman mo yung kung gaano yung progress ng student. Kasi kapag all of your student, nagbigay ka ng quiz, tapos lahat ng student mo failed, it means as a teacher, mayroon kang problem doon sa pagtuturo mo. Pero kapag pagbigay mo ng quiz, lahat ng student mo is kuha naman ng mataas na score, it means bilang teacher, mayroon kang magandang naiambag sa kanila. Mayroong mabuting progress sa inyong topic. Okay. Types of test. According to the mode of response. As to mode of response, the test can either be oral or written performance. Okay. For Miss Albano, what is the difference between oral and written? Difference of oral and written. So, ipasa mo sa messenger mamaya after mo makita ang video na ito. So, kapag hindi kayo nakasagot sa mga individual activity kasi nyo, it means hindi nyo nakita ang video. So, for Miss Albano, what is different between oral and written? Okay, when we say oral test, it is a test wherein the test taker gives his answer orally. Okay, sa oral test, dito mo masusukat kung ang student ba is talagang nakikinig. Kasi kapag oral test, harap-harapan kayo ng mga teacher and student na magbigay ng information. So, yung student, hindi siya pwede mag-cheat. Kasi nga, kaharap mo siya eh. Harapan kayo, itatanong mo siya, then sasagot siya. So, sa pamamagitan ng oral test, ay yung pinaka-effective tool ng teacher para malaman niya kung ang student is may advanced knowledge o yung student is talagang meron siyang kaalaman na nakuha. Kasi nga oral. Kapag written test naman, yung student is maari siyang maaring magkodigo or maaring mag-copy sa kanyang classmates. Kasi pag written kasi malayo, tabi-tabi yung mga student. Kasi mostly nangyayari talaga yan. Magbigayan ng answer or ang iba may mga cellphone, doon na yung sagot. So kapag written test, para sa akin, hindi siya effective tool para masukat mo, para ma-measure mo yung knowledge ng student. Unlike sa oral test na talagang ma-measure mo kung gaano kahaba, gaano kalalim ang kaniyang kaalaman. Okay, sa performance test, is the one of the test taker creates an answer or a product that demonstrates his knowledge or skill as in cooking and baking. Kasi sa performance test naman, ito yung nangyayari mostly sa mga fisheries student. Kasi kadalasan performance or experiment yung ginagawa nila. Kasi sa experiment test naman, doon mo rin ma-measure yung student if meron siyang knowledge sa ipinapagawa. For example, meron kayong performance about cooking. Okay, before mo kasi ibigay yung performance test, kailangan itapik mo muna yung mga procedure of cooking. So, ibigay mo na yung mga dapat saka hindi dapat gawin. So, as a teacher or as a student, kung nakinig ka or kung talagang nakuha mo yung procedure during performance test is ma-perfect mo. Pero kapag hindi ka nakinig, hindi mo alam yung procedure during discussion, hindi ka nakinig or hindi mo siya nag-take note, it means during performance test is hindi mo siya makukuha. So, ang pinaka-effective na test for me is oral pati performance. Ang written kasi maaring mayroong bad na nangyayari or maaring mayroong mga negative na ginagawa ang student para ma-perfect lamang sa kanilang score. Okay, according to quantification of response. So, is quantification of response, test can be either objective or subjective. Sorry guys, maingay ha. Objective test. It is a test paper and pencil test where the student answer can be compared and quantified to a yield of numerical score. This because it requires convergent and specific response. Okay, kapag objective test, ano bang gine-require ng student? First is test paper and pencil. Okay, during exam, midterm at saka final exam, yun ang ginagamit objective test kasi nga meron tayong papel at saka ballpen na ginagamit. Okay, for question dedicated to Miss Quezon. What is the difference between objective and subjective test? Yung mga question you guys, yung mga individual question with yan siya, 20 points each. Okay, kapag subjective test naman, it is a paper and pencil test which is not easily quantified. As student are given the freedom to write their answers to be a question such as essay test. Thus, the answer of this type of test is divergent. Okay, sa subjective test naman, ito rin kadalasan yung mga pagpapaliwanag ng mga exam. Next is according to the mode of administration. Individual test is a test of administered by one student at a time. Ay kapag individual test from the word individual, di ba? Ikaw lang nag-iisa. So solo flight, single. So single mong pag-aralan or single mong sasagutin yung mga question na ibigay sa iyo. Sige, ito yung tinatawag na dapat mayroon kang knowledge kasi kapag individual test wala kang matanungan. Unlike kapag meron kang katabi, pwede ka mag-copy. So may matanungan ka, pero as a student kailangan Okay, during individual test as a student kailangan magpakatotoo ka sa iyong sarili. Wag yung for example perfect ka nga, taas yung grades mo kasi nga perfect mo yung individual test, pero nagkudigo ka or nag-copy ka lang sa iyong mga classmate. So which is bad. So kailangan as a future educator, maging totoo ka sa sarili mo. Hindi yung it means perfect ka. Yes, perfect ko pero hindi mo pinaghirapan. Hindi naman nakakatuwa. Yung sarili mo yung niloloko mo sa ginagawa mo na pagkukudigo or pagka-copy. So group test. So sa group test naman, ito yung kadalasan na merong away na nangyayari. Di ba kapag group test, may other student or mga other members of the group na hindi tumutulong or mga other members of the group na nagpapasa yun lang. So, as a group test, kahit grupo siya, kailangan din ng individual na magtulungan para makuha na yung pinaka the best na answer na sa question na ibinigay. Okay, according to the mode of interpreting result. As a mode of interpreting result, test can either be norm reference or creation reference. Okay, what is the difference for Miss Ibido? This is your question. Explain the difference of norm and creation. Criterion reference. Criterion reference at saka norm reference test. When we say norm reference test, it is a test that evaluates a student performance by comparing it to the other performance of a group of student of the same test. Okay, kaibido is ano siya, magawa ka ng isang example ng mga norm and criterion reference. Okay, for example, sa norm reference, kumbaga, during ito sa mga contest, for example, merong dance contest, sabayang pagbigkas, o yung mga group performance. Parang naga-judge ka. So, i-compare mo kung sino yung may magandang performance, at saka i-compare mo doon sa first at saka second performance, parang comparison ang nangyayari dito sa norm. Like for example, sa search, di ba, i-compare mo yung candidate number 1 sa candidate number 2 sa candidate number 3. Parang sa norm is naka-base siya sa performance. Sa criterion naman, is a test that measures student performance against an agreed upon the pre-established level of performance. Okay, next is assessment. The process of gathering quantitative and qualitative data of what student can do and how much student possess. Assessment can focus on the individual learners and learning community, class, workshop, or other organized group of learners, the institution, or the different educational system. Okay, meron tayong types of assessment. First is summative assessment, formative assessment, informal assessment, and formal assessment. Assessment is a data is mathematically computed and summarized. Scores as percentiles or standard scores are mostly and commonly given of this type of assessment. Okay, formal assessment have data which is support the conclusion made from the test. We usually refer of this type of test as standardized measure. Yun ang formal assessment. Parang ano siya, mathematically computed. For example, ang score mo is 8 out of 10. Plus, second test naman, 20 out of 20. So, i-plus na yung score mo, then divided by kung ilang percentage ang quizzes. Parang nakasolve siya through mathematics. Informal assessment. Informal assessment are not data-driven but rather content and performance-driven. For example, running records are informal assessment because they indicate how well student reading a specific book scores as 10 correct out of 15% of words read correctly. Okay, sa informal assessment naman, parang hindi siya yung basihan nila is running records in formal assessment because they indicate a well student in reading specific books. Parang kung ano lang yung tama. For example, if you are reading a books, ang teacher, i-monitor ka niya or bibigyan ka niya scores pamagitan ng tamang pagbigkas ng mga salita sa iyong binabasa. Unlike sa formal assessment na talagang score mo, kung ilan na yung score mo, yun yung isa-solve nila. Pero sa informal naman, kung ilan lang yung mali mo sa pagbasa ng mga books, parang ano siya, hindi siya gaya sa formal na talagang ano siya, talagang nangyayari siya sa quizzes, sa activities, or yung score talaga ang binabasihan ng teachers. Summative assessment used to determine the mastery is one attempts to assess student learning for a specified time period. For example, a unit test would be summative assessment. Accountability of success or failure, done usually at the end of a chapter unit. Kaya ang summative assessment naman, ito ay nangyayari after ng the end of the unit. For example, nagklase mo Unit 1. After ng Unit 1, kapag matapos na yung discussion nyo sa Unit 1, doon pa magbibigay ang teacher ng quiz. Ito yung tinatawag na summative assessment. At the end of the chapter nangyayari. Okay, ano bang purpose ng summative assessment? First is to evaluate student learning at the end of the instructional unit. Okay, para malaman mo kung ang student is mayroon siyang learning na nangyayari during sa activity or during sa topic na naganap. Is used to help evaluate teachers. Okay, doon mo ma-evaluate ang teachers if talagang nakuha ng mga student kung ano yung ibig niyang ipahiwatig. Kasi if the teachers hindi niya masyadong naibigay sa mga student yung tamang topics or tamang explanation, so yung mga student is hindi nila mag-gets. So during the summative assessment, so talagang mafe-failed sila because may yung teacher doon, because of the teacher. Yes, is to monitor student progress on the teacher's effectiveness. Okay, doon mo mamamonitor yung student. Doon mo malaman ang student if gaano siya nag-focus, gaano niya pinapahalagahan yung kanyang study, if during sa summative assessment is nakaget siya ng highest score. What is evaluation? Okay, number 5. Evaluation is concerned with whole range of issues and beyond education. Lessons, program, skills can be evaluated. So, mayroon akong tanong dedicated to Miss Suwan. What is the important of evaluation? Evaluation is concerned with the whole range of issues and beyond education. Lessons, program, and skills can be evaluated. Evaluation is a process of determining to what extent the educational and objective are being realized according to Ralph Tyler. The process of making overall judgment of one's work or a whole school work. Evaluation means you have to evaluate your student kung ano na ang progress ng inyong study, kung ano na ang progress ng inyong topic. Okay, mayroon tayong types of evaluation. For Mr. Smith, what is product evaluation? Product evaluation refers to evaluation taking place during the program or learning activities that is conducted while the event to be used is evaluated so occurring. It is known as formative evaluation. Process evaluation, it is also known as summative evaluation. It evaluates the progress toward established outcome. Okay, kapag tinatawag nating process evaluation, ito yung parang summative evaluation. So it is help to evaluate the progress towards an established outcomes. Product evaluation, it conducted at the end of the course. Product evaluation examines the effect of outcomes of some object. Yung product evaluation, ito yung nangyayari din siya at the end of the course. So kung kanina is yung summative, at the end of the unit, ang product naman is at the end of the course. So nangyayari siya once a year kapag tapos na yung pinaka-last na siya nangyayari. Parang ang quizzes nangyayari is from first semester going to end of the semester, yun yung product evaluation. Parang galing sa simula hanggang pagtapos ng topic at doon na magbibigay ang teacher ng isang exam. Yun ang tinatawag na product evaluation. So what is the purpose of evaluation? So for Mr. Maagad, what is the purpose of evaluation? First is the test of efficiency of teachers. Next, establish and maintain standards to meet legal, professional, and academic credentials. Motivate participants, facilitate the improvement program, and clarify and define objective. Yun yung purpose ng evaluation. What is measurement? Mr. Pitogo, what is measurement? Measurement, it is an assessment intended to measure the test taker knowledge, skill, aptitude, performance, or classification, and many other topics. Okay, kapag natabing measurement, it is to measure upang sukatin mo ang kaalaman ng iyong student. From the word measure. It is an act or process that involves the assignment of numerical values to whatever is being tested. So, it is involved the quantity of something. Okay, kapag measurement, it's focused about numbers, quantity of something. Measurement, a process of collecting data, attribute of interest. Okay, kapag sinasabi nating measurement, diba, sabi ko kanina, used to measure the student. Paano mo measure ang student? Kasi nga, kanina, meron tayong tinatawag na test. So, sa test, doon mo ma-measure ang student kung gaano niya kalalim nalalaman ang inyong topics based sa result ng kanyang test. Okay, meron tayong function of measurement. First is instructional function. Instructional function, it is used to determine the outcomes of teaching and learning process, and it is used to make learning more effective. So for Ms. Suhaili, explain instructional function. It's used to determine the outcomes of teaching and learning process, and it is to make effective learning. Okay, principal instructional function are the basic purposes of measurement. First is to determine what knowledge, skills, abilities, habits, and attitude have been acquired. Second, to determine what progress has been made in acquisition of learning and outcomes. Third, to determine the strengths, weaknesses, difficulties, and needs of the student. Secondary instructional function, to help the formation of study habits, to develop the support-making capacity of the student, to serve as aid for guidance, counseling, and prognosis. Number 2, administrative and supervisory function of measurement are those to help in making instructional function more effective. First, to maintain standard. Okay, school administer tests to applicant for enrollment to determine who should qualify to enroll. Next, the government also administers general college entrance examination for high school or graduating student to determine who is allowed to take courses in college and involved much intellectual activity at present is popularly called NCAE. Okay, sa measurement, iba sa college during enrollment, meron tayong tinatawag na college entrance examination. So sa pamamagitan doon, malalaman mo kung student kung anong course siya qualified. Achievement in school subject is measured by means of tests, and results serve as a basis of determining who should be promoted to the higher and next level and who should. Kaya sa pamagitan ng measurement, doon mo nalaman kung sino ba ang student na ma-promote to the next level. For example, kapag sa measurement mo, ang result ng measurement sa student is failed, it means hindi siya ma-promote or hindi siya makapasa para sa next level. Next is, for social control purposes, the government administers examination to determine who would be licensed to practice their professions. Okay, di ba sa mga teachers, kapag graduate ka na ng teachers, di ba meron tayong natawag na license examination for teachers. So doon mini-measure ang quality ng student if makapasa siya or hindi sa license examination. So kapag failed yung measurement o kapag during measurement failed ka, it means hindi ka pwede or hindi ka license sa iyong profession. Next is to classify or select student for special purpose. Okay, the purpose of measurement is to classify or select student for special purposes. Okay, di ba kapag during measurement, doon mo maklasify ang student kung saan siya nababagay. For example, first, section A, matatalino. Section B, katamtaman. At saka sa section C, medyo mababa. So doon mo ma-classify or sa pamagitan ng result ng measurement, doon mo ma-classify ang student kung saan sila nababagay at kung ano ang environment na dapat nilang paglagyan. Next is to serve as basis for research. The result of measurement are very rich sources of problems and topics for research. Okay, sa mga hindi natawag kanina, please explain, give your idea about test. Assessment and evaluation. Yun yung question para sa inyo. Meron tayong 8 yung nabigyan ko ng question. So Mistrelias, Albano, Quezon, Ibido, Suwan, Smith, Maagad, Pitugo, and Suhaili. Sila yung nabigyan ko ng mga individual or meron silang mga task. Sa hindi na mention, paka-explain ang test. Ang sa test is Haganas, Aragon, and Serrano. For assessment, 8, 9, 10, 11. Mary Jane, classmate. Okay, for tests, Haganas, Aragon, Serrano. Sa assessment, Mary Jane, Ong, Jonella. Evaluation, Tomali, Allen, at saka sino pa yung hindi na-mention? Ara na. Okay. This is individual activity. Test, Haganas, Aragon, Serrano. Assessment, Mary Jane, Ong, Jonella. For evaluation, Tomali, and Allen. So ang inyong quiz, individual quiz, which is 20 points. Meron ka 20 points.
Usa dili ko pagka-video ato.
Okay, guys, this is your quiz. What is the importance of evaluation, measurement, assessment, and test? Ganito yung gawin nyo ha. Sa gitna, sa gitna is what is the importance, tapos sa yung apat na bilog, doon nyo ipasok yung important ng measurement, importance ng assessment, importance ng test, at the importance of evaluation. Nakuha? Paki-screenshot nyo lang ha. Next is your assignment. Okay, yung quiz ninyo kanina, di ba meron akong 20 points na individual test na during reporting plus 30 10, 20, 30, 40 plus 30 points equals meron po kayong 50 points lahat sa quizzes. So kapag hindi nyo nasagutan kanina yung mga individual ninyo, it means kapag ito rin nasagutan sa pinakalas, 30 lang out of 50. Sayang yung 20 points na individual test. For assignment, which is 30 points, pass it to my messenger account until 12 midnight on Sunday. Why there is a need to test, assess, measure, and evaluate the student. Number 2, as a future teacher, what kind of test do you prefer? Cite an example. Thank you. Thank you for your listening and good luck to the second reporter.